Hey, how's it going, everybody? Brian Cain here, host of the Team Allie Beth Allman podcast, and I'm here with Erin Young Garrett for today's episode, where we're going to break down progression through recession. It's a concept and a mindset that might not hit right away when we mention it. So let's say it again: progression through recession. I think a lot of times when people think of recession, they think of, well, we're going backwards, the economy's going backwards. Well, what we want to talk about today are how can you stay healthy with your business, stay healthy with yourself, and really still focus on progression. And progression being better tomorrow than you were today, and better today than you were yesterday through this recession. So, Erin, super excited to sit down and talk about this here with you today. How are things going?
All is good. And as we were discussing earlier, we had a great economist come speak at our office meeting yesterday, and just an update on the overall economy. And there's clearly a change going on in the market, in the real estate market, that I think across the board, you know, houses are no longer going in multiple offer situations with overpriced bidding and all of that. And everybody's seeing a price reduction or days on market pickup, and definitely a slowing of it across the board. For our economy in Dallas, as he described, he said it is slowing, and he hesitantly used the word recession, but he said he wouldn't be surprised if that's where we entered into. But one of the things that he kept talking about was, this will create a healthy market. And when you have a healthy market, you have a sustainable market. And I thought that was great information and very well said, because the last couple of years in real estate across the United States has not been, it's been an unsustainable market and an unhealthy market. It's been very exciting and exhilarating and fun, but it's not healthy or sustainable.
Yeah, I think it's a great concept to bring also to kind of the concept of just the self-development piece. What I love about here with the Team Allie Beth Allman podcast is, you get to take it from an agent perspective, and I kind of bring it back to like a mental performance, just competitor performers perspective. And I think when we're talking about healthy and sustainable, the one word that comes to my mind is consistent of process. And regardless of the market and the things that you cannot control, an economy, a market, the weather, how you feel every day. What you can control are the things that you choose to do every day to invest in yourself, to invest in your business. And here on this podcast, we've talked a lot about the app Habit Share and creating your success checklist and making sure that you have a list of consistent behaviors that you want to bring awareness to. And awareness really is the first step to growth. So if I want to get better at calling on for sale by owners, if I want to get better at sending off new listings to my current client list, if I want to get better at sending a happy birthday, how are you message to people that are inside of my network, I have to create a system and a process that's going to allow me to be sustainable and consistent with doing that. So I think this idea, Erin, about healthy and sustainable, being consistent is key. But how can agents during this time, right? How can they create that healthy and sustainable in their business, maybe when the market isn't quite as lucrative or exciting as it was previously?
Right now is a good time to take a step back and look at what the business plan is. Usually we say look about October. You want to look at your next year's business plan. But with the change right now and a quietness, this is a good time to do that and sort of gear up for what the change is going to be, regardless of how, regardless if the market comes down even more or if it stays steady or whatever the market's doing. But you put your game plan together and have, as you've always said, your systems in place on how you're going to stick to it. And don't set goals that are unreachable. You want to set them so they stretch you, but not so that they're not achievable. Because if you go too far, then you get defeated. And look at what that plan is. I think is really important this time of year. Look at your marketing plan, and readjust on how you're spending your marketing dollars and marketing time. Your time is as valuable as your dollar. And some people lose track of that, but if not more valuable, actually. But,
Yeah.
look at your marketing time and dollars and have a plan for where both of those are being spent. And, and look at the change in the market and be prepared to adjust.
Yeah, and as you know, it's interesting, Erin, as you're talking about building that business plan. What are some other areas, obviously looking at where your time goes, looking at what your budget is, what are some other things that maybe for a new agent who's going, hey, this might be a great time for me to revisit my business plan and where I want to go. I got into real estate. Well, the market was booming and everything was great. And I had some success. And now that things have slowed down and I can take a deep breath, what should I be doing? They may not know the answer. So for that new agent that's out there listening to
Mhm.
this, what would you give them in terms of a maybe 3 steps or things that they can do in terms of a plan of right now to build that business plan? What are some things that they should really be looking at? Obviously, you mentioned their marketing dollars and where they're putting their time. Is there anything else that
Yeah.
you feel like would be important?
Whenever someone starts with a marketing or a business plan, they always say, where am I going to get that business? So, back step, look at your network and what's your network and where are they? And, I met with somebody yesterday and she was like, I feel like I've talked a lot to my network and I'm just not getting anybody. And I was like, okay, well, tell me your lifestyle. And she named a number of things. And I said, okay, well, your oldest is changing school, so that's going to give you a whole new network of people, of contacts. I said, do you walk in the morning or do you exercise in the morning? And she said yes. And I said, okay, well, who do you do that with? And she said, I go by myself. And I said, start inviting people to go with you. Early morning workouts are a very raw time for people. Everybody's pretty much rolling out of bed and just going. They're not putting on their makeup or doing any of that. So I said, start inviting people or 1 or 2 people to just go walk with you or go work out with you, and start that, join a book club, or, and start going back to the basics of look at your network. And the things that you enjoy, that's where you're going to pick up your clients because you're going to relate to them.
Hmm.
And then, stay in touch with people, be consistent with staying in touch. It doesn't always have to be about the real estate, but it's got to, you have to be in touch with people. Keep doing that. And then, take care of yourself. Like you've got to stick to the basics for yourself of what as we always talk about, your mental performance, because when you have that habit set in place to rely on, where you're going to go when you're thrown off your game. What you're going to fall back to. You're going to fall back to those habits. So, make sure you're doing some, career growth, some spiritual growth, some personal growth, and getting all that in balance.
Yeah, I love that concept of taking time. And again, I always go back to life-changing lesson I picked up here on the Team Allie, Beth, Allman podcast when Natalie Bliss mentioned win the private before you win the public. I'll probably mention that on every podcast that I ever do because I think it's so accurate, right?
Mm-hmm.
In that we're so easily controlled by a cell phone that when we get up in the morning, we turn it off as an alarm and we immediately go into work. And sometimes we forget that the best investment we can make is into ourselves. And having that healthy and sustainable lifestyle, that healthy and sustainable routine where you're also ultra productive, you're also ultra efficient, and you're ultra effective, right? So creating that lifestyle and that routine and allowing yourself to make that progression through a recession. So who are the people that win during difficult times? Those who have the best system. Who are the
Mm-hmm.
companies that continue to flourish and grow during the difficult times, a recession, a pandemic, whatever it is? The ones that have the best systems. So I think when you're looking at doing some goal setting or building your business, look at it in a systematic standpoint of as I'm setting this up, what can be done consistently over time. And in the 3 key areas for yourself where you're setting goals, think about your goals around energy, around work, and around love. I don't want you to just set real estate goals. Obviously, we've got to do that. This is a real estate podcast. We've got to be productive. But I want you to set goals around yourself and your energy. How are you sleeping? How are you eating? How are you moving, as you mentioned, that morning workout? What are you doing to feed your mindset? Are you going to any seminars or webinars online? Are you reading any books? Are you using Optimize, so for your energy? What about for work? What's the aspect of your work that you're trying to develop? If I were to ask you as an agent on the street, hey, what are you doing right now intentionally to develop your business? Would you be able to give me an answer as quick and easily as your birthday? And if you couldn't, we need to bring more intention into what I'm trying to do to make my business better. And then the third place we want to set goals would be in our love, with our family, with our friends, with the people who we care about. How do I make sure that I'm drinking that juice from life and building that connection? So those are some areas I think that we can invest into making that progression through the recession Anything else, Erin, from your perspective that you feel like during this time right now, as agents are listening to this could be something that would be of benefit to them? Maybe it's a book you're reading, maybe it's a seminar you attended recently, or anything that you feel like, this is a nugget I want to share with people here today.
I mean, just what you were talking about, energy is such a big part of this business. And I think if you are focused on those three aspects, you'll see the payoff. And don't, stay in the moment, think on the moment, and it doesn't matter what's going on in the economy. Your business is your business, right? I mean, like, you're always going to be coaching people no matter where they are in their careers. You coach people at their best, you coach people at their worst. And if they're at their best, you keep them there. And if they're at their worst, you bring them to their best. I mean, that's what you do. I mean, in our industry, we sell real estate. We sell real estate no matter what's going on in the industry. And so this is an opportunity to create a sustainable business, because it was really hard to establish that in the last 2 years, because it was so much of a go time. But that's the opportunity here, is to make it healthy.
And it's coming back, right? I mean, it's cyclical. If you look at life, life is cyclical. I mean, for me, it's school years. For you guys, it's market fluctuation, right?
Right.
And what's going to happen for the agents listening to this as we wrap up this episode of Progression Through Recession is, at some point the recession is going to end. You know what's going to happen? The market's going to go right back to and be or better than it was. The question is not, is the market going to come back? The question is, are you going to be ready? The question is, are you going to have built your mindset and built your energy and built your engine and built your business that when it comes back, you're not just taking part, you're taking over. You're not just going to participate, you're going to dominate when that comes back, because you have built the system and the structure that you need to succeed when it comes back. That's what we're talking about with progression through recession. So let's not count the days. Let's make sure we make those days count, and we are setting ourselves up for what's coming. Look, it's like going to college. When you go to college, they'll say, don't focus on what you're going through, the grind, the labs, the late night studying, the early morning 8 a.m. classes. They'd say, focus on what you're going to, because the tassel is worth the hassle. So let's keep building up that business. Let's keep building up that engine, because the best investment you can make as a business owner is into you. And when the market comes back, you'll be ready. And if the market stays in a recession, you'll be ready. It's not about creating the path for the person. It's preparing the person for the path. And the path we're on is the path we're on. So let's walk it one step at a time, the best version of us. Erin, thank you for joining us here today. It's a great day to be with Team Allie. Beth, thanks for checking out this episode.
Thank you.